episode of the FilmHounds podcast. I'm Katie Hogan, reviews and festival editor. Joining me is Paul Klein, our features editor, and we have our founder, David Garlick, recording and editing. But of course, he probably will say something during this episode.
Ooh.
So there we go. So today we're going to be revealing the top 10 films as voted by all the FilmHounds editors and contributors.
I'm very excited. This is the first year since we've done FilmHounds that I've not compiled it, so I've got no idea what it is. So I can't be blamed or accused of corruption this year, but you can.
Well, to cover myself, I did literally count up everything twice to definitely make sure that this was the actual 10 films.
You made a list, you checked it twice.
Yeah, I'm being a cliche.
Mrs. Claus.
I don't know what this is going to be, by the way, people. I'm looking forward to experiencing this as I'm told, and being shocked at none of my votes having mattered.
I'm gonna try not to boo ones that I didn't vote for, but
I am gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna try and hold back as much as I possibly can.
Okay.
But so just to repeat again, this was voted by the editors and all the writers for FilmHounds, so this is a collective choice.
Okay, interesting.
Messengers.
Oh.
We may all voted individually, but this is a collective. This is the voice of FilmHounds.
It's the voice of the people. The people have spoken.
So coming in at number 10, it's Conclave.
Okay.
That's good.
Number 9, Sing Sing.
Oh, should be higher.
Number 8, La Chimera.
Yep.
And number 7, The Wild Robot.
Huh?
Number 6, All of Us Strangers.
Right. This is not good.
Take it in.
That's a good strong list, I think.
Nearly all of those films should be higher on the list. Well, my problem is I think of All of Us Strangers as last year's film because I saw it at the London Film Festival.
Check you out.
Yeah, that's the thing. I also forgot it came out this year.
It was fantastic.
I think out of those, only All of Us Strangers in my top 10 and all the rest were in my top 20. So I'm not surprised that they are so high up, to be honest. I think, and that's a complete mix. You don't look happy, Katie.
Sing, sing, a ling, a ling. Sing should be so much higher. Well, last episode I went on about it, but it was beautiful.
I'm very pleased that Conclave made it into number 10 because I really like that film.
Conclave is great. Conclave is great
on my list. It's a solid choice.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it got a bit too silly at the end, but
you needed that. You needed some kind of. I don't want to give it away, obviously, to the people who still haven't seen Conclave, but you needed that ex machina.
Best pull on the vape of the year. Best pull on the vape of the year when Tedesco pulls on that vape after an awkward moment. You're like, yes, no notes. Was the Scorsese thing absolute cinema?
Not sure.
There are so many amazing individual moments in Conclave where I sort of remember back going like, that was great. That was great. Anything with Isabella Rossellini, just great.
The little curtsy she does. Oh God, I loved it. God.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad that made the top 10 because that is in my top 10 of the year. I loved it.
That was a personal favorite, and I was also pleased to see The Wild Robot. Although I do feel that should have been higher, personally.
Beautiful
but,
film.
Yeah, a lot of people had that in their lists.
Yeah,
they're not high enough.
It didn't make my list, but I thought it was very sweet, quite emotional, especially having kids, watching it with kids. The tear almost, like I said, if I could cry, a tear almost came into my eye, but didn't quite hit.
Wait, did your kids cry at it though?
No, they're
taken after you.
I I don't. Do you know what? I don't think they enjoyed it as much as me.
My
Well,
Oh,
my
as
kid rarely
6 year old,
cries at films. I cry at every film, but my kid rarely cries at films. I think he nearly cried when I showed him Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part One because it was a Dobby.
out of everything, that.
Oh, and Jack Frost when with Michael Keaton as a snowman. Just at the end when he sees him as a human again before he goes to heaven, he got upset.
No.
I think because he imagined what would
Oh,
happen if his beloved daddy died. But
oh.
everything
He
else is
empathise.
you would melt there as well, wouldn't you?
oh god, oh I'd melt within a second the amount of hot air that comes out of me. But, he gets annoyed. I take him to sometimes I take him to critic screenings. He gets really annoyed because I cry and he sighs really loudly.
Quite embarrassing, isn't it? You're going to a very serious
Oh
critics
god.
event and you're embarrassing them.
Oh god. I cried at Paw Patrol the Mighty movie. And he turned to
Oh no.
he turned to his mum and just went, "He's doing it again."
Uh,
I was like, "No, Pup is too small."
my
Oh my
daughter
God.
only cries when I threaten to delete Netflix, which is the only
Amazing.
punishment I can get to work on her.
Oh, don't deprive me of Gabby's dollhouse, Dad.
All of Us Strangers was, pretty dark,
I
pretty
loved
that
it.
It is dark.
It's a
yeah.
Christmas film. It's a Christmas film, guys. You can watch it. It's a Christmas film.
I think I'm gonna have to watch that again.
It's set in Croydon. It's
I'm gonna
filmed in
wait.
Croydon. That's why I loved it.
That's why it's sad.
As someone who
No
lived,
offense to anyone who lives in
Apart
Croydon.
from Paul.
as someone who was born, raised, and still lives in Croydon, seeing Lloyd Park in a film, I was like, I've been there. I used to drink cider in Lloyd Park. And then I was like, Wicked Sensei! Whenever Croydon,
Do you know what? It's quite nice to see a hometown appear in
when
the film. Be like,
Croydon,
oh my God.
when Croydon is mentioned or appears in films, I cheer. In Iron Man 3, they mention Croydon. And honestly, there's a bit in Iron Man 3 where they're talking about Ben Kingsley's character as an actor. And Guy Pearce goes,
Oh my God.
they said his lair was the toast of Croydon. And I worked at the Wimbledon Odeon when that came out. Every single time, sold out screenings of Iron Man 3, everyone would go,
Where the hell would you have played King Lear in Croydon? Just asking.
the Fairfield Halls.
Fairfield Halls. I've seen wrestling in the Fairfield Halls.
At the Peggy Ashcroft Theatre at Fairfield Halls. Thank you very much.
Okay, right, fair enough. I've just not spent enough time
No,
in Croydon.
when I see Croydon in films or on TV, I'm like, that's why I like watching Peep Show. I'm like, yeah.
Actually, I've never seen my hometown my proper hometown on screen. No one goes there, but everyone knows the neighboring town. I don't want to say it, but
To be fair, it's because the director of All of Us Strangers is a Croydon boy.
okay. I can understand that actually.
Do you know what?
Wanting to
Three
film in
fantastic filmmakers have come from Croydon. So David Lean, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, Lawrence of Arabia. The director.
Wait, that's the film you picked? Sorry, he's made.
That was filmed in Croydon as well, wasn't
it? Yeah, those sandy dunes of Croydon.
Yeah.
The director of All of Us Strangers, Andrew Haigh, and Sam Taylor Johnson, director of 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, that's her #1 film on her IMDb.
Yeah. Well, Nowhere Boy's good.
I've actually never seen Nowhere Boy, but I'll always know it as that's where she met her husband. Yeah. On that note, should we do the next 5 films?
Yeah, let's do it. All of Us Strangers, lovely film. Do watch it.
I'll just say Sing Sing, we spoke about in the last podcast, which is an amazing film as well. Phenomenal. So have a listen to that last one.
I feel bad because I haven't seen La Chimera.
Nor have I, to be fair.
No. Well, now we should, because obviously our colleagues know it's good.
I feel like it showed at a London Film Festival, but it clashed with something that seemed more fun.
I think it's on Mubi at the moment. I did watch
Probably.
It's a movie. Yeah. It's a movie film. Yeah, it's probably one of those. I feel bad about that, but it's in the list. I now know it's really glaring me in the face. Go watch it. So there we go. Okay, and then on that note, we are going to go to the top 5, starting with number 5,
I'm fine.
The Holdovers.
I love it.
Lovely.
I love it. I
Lovely.
watched it.
Lovely little film, that. Loved it.
Yeah. I watched it
I had a feeling
Christmas.
you'd like
It is a
this.
Christmas film, but I think I put it in my second choice. Maybe I'd probably say it's my joint first.
But I did love The Holdovers. It's so funny. It's so lovely.
I do like it.
I
It's a good film.
I was so
I
happy
appreciate
when Divine Joy Randolph won the Oscar. What a
Mm.
beautiful moment.
That's why I like the film. She's great in it. I know you're meant to enjoy like the relationship between the two main characters, but she is
Yeah.
She's the heart and soul
the
of
main
the
reason
movie.
why I enjoyed it.
And yeah,
Yeah.
she deserved that Oscar. I'm so glad she got it.
Yeah.
There would have been fisticuffs if she lost.
No, there's no way she wasn't going to get that. I
No.
think there's always that award where everyone's collectively agreed
It's
she or he or whatever deserves that award, and they're going to get it.
no, The Holdovers is lovely. It's very funny and very sweet natured, and
Yeah. Melancholy.
It is melancholy.
I'm interested to see what Dominic Slessor does next, because he was bloody great in that for a first movie.
They had a really good dynamic. Separately, he just comes off as very nervous and awkward, but when you have him with Paul Giamatti, the energy between them really works. Separately, I feel like it just loses it a bit. If you know, when you see like a really good dynamic,
Yeah,
and you're just like, these two work well, I can't really see where that's going to go. Does that make sense?
yeah, no, it makes perfect. No, I get exactly what you mean.
Your face like David's shaking.
I wasn't gonna say it on the podcast, so I just shook my head. Paul said yes, so I just shake my head. It's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Well,
I
you
just,
know, just a fan.
yeah. I'm just saying like he might end up just being known for that role in The Holdovers.
Maybe.
That's a great role.
Like,
Oh yeah, could be worse.
yeah. I mean, so I did not vote for The Holdovers at all. Just get now. I enjoyed the film. In my mind, it was last year, even though I saw it in January. But
Maybe you need to sort your
I
calendar out
felt,
rather than your film choices.
well, it was good. It was decent. It was fun. It was all of those
Yeah.
things. I just didn't feel like it was memorable enough to be like, yeah, that deserves a spot in my top 10.
If we're talking about star ratings, like I said, I watched it again last week, Christmas time, because obviously it came out in January, not over Christmas.
We,
I think
yeah.
I bumped it up to 5 stars. I thought it was so good. Music as well, perfect fit, visuals looks great. Like I said already, melancholy.
So I take it you like melancholy Christmas movies.
Not particularly, but this one worked for me.
I do like the darker side of Christmas in Christmas films. The melancholy, the darkness. I enjoy that very much.
Depends how dark it's going to get. Obviously, I don't want to have like another Krampus on my hands, but
Batman Returns.
I don't know. There was some. Yeah, Batman Returns is a great
Need to watch
Christmas
that.
movie. That's the kind of Christmas movie I like, and Die Hard, obviously. But
Weird and horny. Give me that Christmas movie.
We probably should have forgot about this list and did it a little bit later and done a Christmas films list, and I would have had holdovers in that
yeah,
one as
You know
well now.
what? Next year.
next year, because Batman Returns isn't going anywhere.
No, it's not. It's
That's
going
what you
at
think.
it's going at like number 2 in my list of favorite Christmas films.
But do you know it did disappear, but he returned, so it was fine.
What's number 4? Come on, let's do this.
Move on, please.
Right. Okay. So number 4, Poor Things.
Great, another great film. I think that was my number one as well. It's joint number one. Emma Stone in that.
On the
Electric.
January film.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was
I
fine.
think the time frame for the vote was January to December, so I feel like a perfectly acceptable, Katie. Next time we'll do it from September for you.
Yeah, that'd been way better. But I did not vote for Poor Things. I actually, when I first saw it, I did not like this film.
I thought, generally speaking, I like Yorgos Lanthimos movies, but I like his it's weird to say more realistic, but I like Killing of a Sacred Deer, Yorgos Lanthimos, not I wasn't that crazy about The Favourite either, and I poor thing, I was a bit like. Also, that Oscar belonged to
someone else.
yes, Lily Gladstone. It belonged to her. I'm sorry, I don't
Yes,
know.
it
Well,
did.
Emma Stone.
That was
As a Brit, those British accents offend
Votes
me.
are votes, people.
that was so disappointing. You've reminded
Those
me
British
of
accents
this.
offend me. I really don't like. Hello, I'm Mark Wahlberg. Mark Ruffalo doing the British accent. Hello.
I thought it was very funny.
Right. To be fair, I actually the only thing I liked about the film when I first saw it was Mark Ruffalo
I like the dance
because
bit.
he was so over the top.
I like the bit where they dance because I like dancing in movies.
Yeah.
But no,
So I'm with you on the the unrealistic elements of Poor Things, where it was just too fantastical and too over
That's
the top.
what I liked.
when
The
people
visuals
say
as well,
the best
like-
film, I go, is it the best film or is it the most film? Because there's a lot of it. It's very. Look at these costumes. Look at this makeup. Look at this performance.
Look at those shorts she's wearing that clearly are not meant to be worn outside.
But it's like the opposite of the holdovers. Like films can be everything, and that is everything.
Yes.
That is everything, and holdovers is very subtle.
Is what I will say.
And they're both for me like on a par with each other, and they both
Yeah.
work.
They're a great contrast. I was gonna say there are two films I would never be like, oh yeah, The Holdovers and Poor Things, double bill.
Perfect.
Never.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. They're quite long though, actually. So probably you need a
They are.
day.
Old things.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Double bill.
So when I said that, so Poor Things, when I first saw it, I hated it. I have since changed my mind. I don't love it, but I now see merit in it. But I'm still agreeing with the fact that it's not the same as like, because I really love The Lobster. I love the weirdness of The Lobster.
I love The Lobster.
And when I think about, I love The Lobster, and I actually quite like The Favourite, even though that was on the weird edge. I like the very stressful camera angles that they're used in that. But the Poor Things just doesn't have it.
I think you two are just prudes. Prudes. You two are prudes.
Prudes?
I knew I should have kept my clothes on.
Wait till you hear Okay, you're calling us prudes. Wait till you see.
I will say
this.
I will say this. Nobody in my life has ever accused me of being a prude. Okay.
Well,
in fact, if we put a vote up, and like this one of is Paul a prude, yes or no, I don't think there'd be a single vote for no. Okay. I'm a strong advocate for smutting movies. Okay. I love a smutty movie. But I don't know. Poor Things didn't do it for me. I like I say, I like the more grounded Yorgos films. I like Killing of a Sacred Deer. I love The Lobster. The Lobster's very funny.
Well, the good thing with him is he's trying different things. He's not just.
And I'll never begrudge a director
by all means
trying stuff, and especially
things.
Like on the scale just on a scale point of view, Poor Things is like a big movie, and it's bold and original, which I admire. So I'm glad he made it, but just not for me.
Just not enough clothes and where being worn. Disgusting.
That's it. Just have some modesty for once.
Do you know what? Whatever it was, just those weird silky shorts that she wore that really annoyed me.
It didn't move the plot along.
Wear everything else, fine, or don't wear everything else. But those silky shorts, put them in the bin. I
know fashion, so I disagree.
No, give me the silky shorts and I'll wear them.
Yes, by all means, keep them.
Oh God!
I was going to say my main problem with Poor Things is that there are so many good ideas in it, and it's basically like a patchwork where I'm not quite convinced everything fits together, which is ironic because obviously
it's about the patchwork person.
Yes, exactly. Like there were so many ideas that they wanted to fit into it, where they were like, "Let's just shove it all in," and it doesn't. For me, it doesn't.
It did get shoved in quite a lot. A lot got shoved in. I want to cut that out.
No, you're not. You better keep that in. You better keep that in. Don't pull out. Keep in.
See, well, no.
Right. No. I don't have a proper segue now for the third film. But going in at number 3, is Love Lies Bleeding, which I knew. Yeah, see, Paul's dancing. Yeah, I know that because both me and Paul were talking about this in the last episode, so I knew that he'd be pleased because I am very pleased to see this coming in at number 3.
Muscle mummies.
It was in my top
Can't
10.
call us prudes. You can't call us prudes now. Yeah.
No, come on. Like, look, what doesn't the film have? Have you ever wanted to see Kristen Stewart inject steroids into a bodybuilder's bottom? Guess what?
Yes.
Movie for you.
I did. I didn't know I needed
Have
it,
you
but I'm so glad I saw it.
Have you ever wanted to see someone who's just the most detestable, yet royally effed? This movie's got it for you. Just pretend it's James, not Dave, and oh, if you ever want to see
Yes,
Ed Harris
that's
eat a
Klein.
bug, guess what? This
Yeah.
movie's for you. Have you? You know, it's just no. I love Love Lies Bleeding. I saw it twice. Our fearless leader did an on stage. Jasmine, I'm talking about, and that was the second time I saw it, and I was like, still love this movie. Katie O'Brien, you will never not be a hero to me. The problem is, I would
She's
love for
great.
her
I just
to be in the awards conversation because I think she gives a great performance.
Well, one of the associations that I have to vote in, one of them was for breakthrough performance, and one of my nominations was Katie O'Brien.
Yeah, I think
because before that,
great.
I only saw her in a couple of episodes of Mandalorian, and I'm just like, where has she been?
Oh yeah, no, I'll be
like,
honest
is she
with you.
coming back?
All I knew her from was from Ant-Man 3. She's like the leader of the rebels in Ant-Man 3.
And you tried to block that out. Did you block that out?
I checked out of Marvel, so
then,
I missed that one.
But now she's in blooming everything. She was in Twisters. I'm like, Kate O'Brien in Twisters. Apparently she's in the next Mission Impossible, and I do not like Tom Cruise's chances if he's up against her. Because
okay, I'm now more interested in Mission Impossible now that I know she's in it, because I couldn't be bothered.
I want her
to
do the Henry Cavill reload his arms thing. I want to see her reload her arm. I want to see her do it like that. Do the old
that would be perfect.
Oh my god, I'd like to see Henry Cavill and Katie O'Brien in a movie where they fight each other. How great would that be?
Oh, stop! I'm getting excited, and I know this isn't real. So
isn't real yet. Isn't real yet.
Yet.
I will make this.
Let's
film.
get her into more things.
But yes, no. Katie O'Brien was great. Kristen Stewart also great, but Kristen Stewart's been great for forever. I like Twilight.
Yeah, she's found her niche.
I'm gonna come out as a Twilight defender. I love Twilight. But
still not seen it. Still need to see it.
Her and Robert Pattinson are great actors.
Save yourself, David.
Because they took their big bag of Twilight cash, and they've spent the past 10 years doing just the weirdest stuff. Both of them. All right, he's now Batman, but he's still, he's been doing interesting stuff, and she's been doing great stuff. Personal Shopper's a phenomenal film, but Love Lies Bleeding, man, I love Love Lies Bleeding.
Do you know what? Personal Shopper actually is one of those films where I'm like, this. Absolutely loved it. Great. It's very creepy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
There is proper surrealism in Love Lies Bleeding. It goes into very Cronenberg-esque areas at certain points. I feel like
there's parts of this film where you just like I don't know how to put it in an articulate way, but there are parts of the film where I'm like, oh, it went there. Oh, okay. Oh, it went there again. And then it did this. And then it did the ending with the, as you said, the Cronenberg stuff.
The bodybuilder on the bodybuilding competition section. I was just like, what is going on? I love this.
Yeah. You think it's going to go one way and it just completely goes a different direction. It's weirdly refreshing for something that kind of film that you think is going to be a bit more formulaic and familiar.
Yeah.
But it really does not go where you expect.
I need to watch I need to rewatch it.
Yes, highly recommend rewatching this.
So do I. Phenomenal.
We're both getting very excited about it.
Yeah. Very happy.
I can tell which ones you voted for.
I stuffed the ballot for Poor Things. Hit us with number 2. Hit us with a big number.
All right,
2.
Number 2. It's Anora.
Okay, I like Anora.
Wait, I made it sound like It's Anora is the title.
It's Anora. What a wonderful
It's Anora.
It's Anora. When the film is on screen and you're feeling quite mean, it's Anora.
Yeah. That's the vibe, definitely. All I can think about is when she's like, "Do you want to go to an ATM?"
She is like I don't know. They were like, "Can you do a New York accent?" And she was like, "I've seen Joe Pesci. Sure.
Yes,
I'm
but do you
walking
know what?
here. Hey, you. Hey,
It
wise guy. I'm a Northern here."
it just kind of felt acceptable though,
Yeah.
that
Oh
that's
no!
how she was going to play the character.
Best use of take that in a movie, Evs. Like when I signed up to go and see a movie about a sex worker falling in love with the son of a Russian oligarch, I did not expect the dulcet tones of notorious tax dodger Gary Barlow serenading me into the action, and yet here we is.
I
Uh,
treated myself to, again, I went into this blind, didn't know what it was about. I went
Same.
on my own on my birthday thinking, I hope no one knows about this film.
The Rudy Nudie Theatre.
Yeah.
Do you know what
But
it is as
I
well?
thought it was so good as well. I thought it was very good. As in, I think it was in my third choice.
With Honora
I
as
was
well.
pleasantly surprised.
I didn't expect it to be so like if you've seen Sean Baker's other films, I'm a big Sean Baker fan. You know, if you've seen Tangerine or if you've seen The Florida Project or Red Rocket, you know, he flies the flag for sex workers, which is amazing in this climate that there's somebody that's like, you know, these people are human beings. Just
Mm.
because they do a job that people consider alternative, they deserve basic human respect, which is amazing. And for Film Hounds, I've written about sex work in films before, so obviously I care. But what I didn't expect with Honora, especially if you've seen the Florida Project, is just how farcical it is. Because there's a whole section that is slapstick in the extreme with two guys trying to pin Honora down so that she won't run away. And she's like smacking them over the head with things, and they're like, tie her up. And then she's like, what are you doing? Don't get away from me. It's
And that poor guy, Igor, he's just like, can you stop, please stop.
it was great.
That poor guy. Yeah.
It was amazing. And then oh,
It was more funny. Do you know what? I would say the first two-thirds are absolutely hilarious. Even when they're just getting to know each other, I was like, this is ridiculous. But I loved it. The last third, though, drops off. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but for me, I was just like, this is unbelievably sad.
oh yeah, no,
This
Yeah.
is
Sadness wise, yeah.
so
Not
sad.
quality, like yeah.
once they introduce a scary Russian matriarch, and you're like, oh god, she's scary with the Russian oligarch dad who just spends his whole time just laughing at everything.
Laughing at his son being insulted. I was like, oh, yeah, he deserves that.
Yeah, no, I very much enjoyed Honora, and I'm glad Mikey Madison is in the awards
She's been
conversation.
tapped for, yeah, she's been tapped for best female lead.
I feel like she should win it, but I feel like it might go to Angelina Jolie for the Maria.
I hope it doesn't.
I hope, even if she wins, I hope Mikey Madison goes into character as Honora and pulls the statue from her hands.
That's not a real voice, then, you're telling me.
No, she's like from like California or something. Like, have you not seen Scream? The fifth one, Scream 5, or
Yeah, I have.
and she's like, "Oh, hi guys, I'm like in Scream," and then in this one, she's like, "I want to drive a Jaguar."
The only thing I think I've seen her in prior to this isn't she in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah, she's the one that gets set on fire.
She's one of the Manson girls.
Yeah, she's the one that DiCaprio lights on fire in the swimming pool.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Which is also weirdly how she dies in Scream. She's set on fire in like it's weird to get typecast as like the person that gets set on fire.
Did you not see at the end of the credits how she dies?
Honora, when they set
Honora,
yeah, she gets set on fire. Don't you remember that?
No, a brilliant performance and very funny, surprisingly
very well
funny.
deserved.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that's as high up as it is.
No, I'm a big fan of
it. All right, so we've got to the final film. The number one film is Zone of Interest.
I probably shouldn't cheer that film, but yeah, another amazing film.
Two reasons not to cheer it, but yeah.
I'm cheering that it won.
I admire The Zone of Interest, as a feat of filmmaking. I am a big fan of Jonathan Glazer. I think Under the Skin is amazing. Sexy Beast is phenomenal. Birth is very interesting. I feel when I watch a film about the Holocaust, I don't want to come out of it feeling like there was no emotion.
No emotion.
My issue with The Zone of Interest, great performances, really interesting idea, but for me, it felt sterile.
I think that's the point, though, Paul.
This is the thing, and I accept that I am an outlier in the critic community with this because everyone loved it.
Well, not everyone, Paul.
But for me, you know, also the idea of the concept of the banality of evil, which people talk about, like the Nazis being just guys doing jobs, is interesting to a point, but at a certain point, it almost feels like kind of going, well, what are we going to do? And it's like, no, the extermination of a people is not what you're going to do. The extermination of a people is these people are awful, and I don't know. There's something about it that I didn't quite vibe with. I think
it's more subtle.
Hard to vibe with a film like this. Yeah.
I mean, it's more subtle than you want it to be, I think, and everything mundane going on, but just the sounds in the background. The sound design was amazing on it.
The sound design was amazing. The sound design was phenomenal. And like I say,
did you not feel like I felt uncomfortable just with that noise, with them acting normal and the burnt pieces in the stream and the smells? You can imagine how grim it is.
I think for me it was the choice to shoot it like, to mount the cameras in the corners of rooms so that the actors are sort of very far away. Almost like it's an episode of Big Brother type thing. I think he even described it as that.
Yeah.
But I do think maybe that's, like I say, that's a fault I would say with me more than with the film. And I don't quite get the not the black white, the night vision things with the little girl. I don't think that works. I think it distracts. I will say, and I'll be. Can we discuss the final scene? Because I'm just genuinely curious what you two think of the final scene. Because I've spoken to people about it.
I thought I'm against films that take you out of the film. It's in a museum with.
He's leaving a party with the Nazi higher ups, and as he's walking down, he looks down a corridor that's pitch black, and it cuts from then. It cuts to the Auschwitz museum being open and clean, and then it cuts back to him and he walks down the stairs. I'm just curious what you two make of that final scene, because I've spoken to a lot of people and nearly everyone's had a different interpretation. So I'm just curious what you two think of it.
Well, I think I am just trying to show that it really happened, and the scale of it, because I can't remember how many shoes, but there's shoes, wasn't it? There's a lot of shoes going on.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I personally think that the film alone was enough for me. I know history. We know the history of what happened. I don't think I needed to see the museum. It kind of takes you out of it a bit. You're like, oh, okay. It's a film. This is the real part. This is a film, where the film itself should be the story and the message. It was enough in the film for me.
It was enough. You knew where they were. You knew what was going on. You knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
It was just a very weird diversion, just to be like, look at what happened. We know.
Yeah.
We know what happened.
That's interesting.
I did, but the thing is, I'm coming at it as a different way, because I did not like this film straight off the bat, and I agree with like a lot of what you were saying, Paul. Actually, it got my back up, because first off, I feel like it was overrated before it even appeared on screens. It was overrated before it came out in festivals. It just felt like it was overrated, and everyone was going to be like, this is amazing. It's Jonathan Glazer's next film. It's the best. And I was just like, okay, show me the best. And the only thing I think I can appreciate from this entire film is the sound design, because it did. So taking from what you both said, I agree with everything that Paul was saying about the reasons why he didn't like it. But I also can see what you were saying about David when you were talking about how it made you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes in a film, you're like, oh, yeah, make me uncomfortable. This is not the subject where I want to be uncomfortable for like 2 hours. And it's sort of like it goes on for far too long. It's kind of sort of like, yeah, we get it. We get it. We get it. Everyone's awful. We get it. They're carrying on with their lives. We get it. They don't see these people as human beings. They don't care. And there's one scene which I actually like in this film because it sort of captures how I felt, if that makes sense. Do you remember when the mother-in-law comes to stay?
Yeah.
And she wakes up in the middle of the night and she goes to the window and it's her like looking outside and it's glowing amber and you know exactly what's going on. They're burning bodies, they're burning people. And it's just the shock and horror from this woman's face. And then it just cuts. And then the next morning, Sandra Hüller's wandering around going like, oh, where's mother?
Yeah.
Where's mother? Mother's gone because she doesn't want to be in your house. She doesn't want to be anywhere near you. And that's exactly how I felt. I was like, I want to leave because I get it. I get the point. This went on for too long. You've made your point now.
But I
Thank you.
think with us choosing it as our number one film,
Yes.
that is no, but the point is people chose it. We chose it. It was in my top 10. I think it was number 10. We chose it because it made you feel like that. You can either come from the point of view. I don't know how you felt what you told me, but it's either
Yeah.
it's too long because it's not a good film, or it's too long because it had a purpose and it made you feel that way. And it's probably a bit of both
But
from you, but I just think we've
but I also don't think it's best. I don't think it was like I feel like there's some great actors in
yeah
it, but I don't think they're doing their best job. I don't think what they're given, they're able to do their best job. I think the best thing about this film is the sound
yeah
design because there's something about like you're just hearing it, and yeah, it's the sounds like because you know they've obviously got the massive wall around the house,
yeah.
so you rely on what you can hear rather than what you can see. So I appreciate the sound design beyond anything else.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody involved in this film have made way better films before.
If I had to pick a film, which we don't do a vote on FilmHounds for best sound design this year, definitely Zone of Interest would win.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. The sound is the thing. The sound is what makes the film. I think for me personally, thematically, it reminded me of. Do either of you remember Downfall, film from 2004,
Yeah.
about the final week? So it's a film about the final week of Hitler's life. So Bruno Ganz plays Hitler, and it does a similar thing. It got a lot of controversy when it came out because what it does is it basically says Hitler was a man, he was a human being that orchestrated all these awful things, but he was a human being. He wasn't the devil. He wasn't Darth Vader. He was a guy. And so I think doing a similar approach to this makes sense, but I think it was the choice to shoot it at like a distance that didn't work. But I do think that final scene is very interesting because I get both of your like interpretation of it, that you know it's implying that it happened. For me, my interpretation of it was that he for a moment glimpses his future, and his future
Ooh.
is, for a brief moment, he sees the future is he will only ever Rudolf Hosch will always be the guy who ran Auschwitz. He will never be anything else. He won't be you know, a dad or a husband or whatever. His future is the guy who ran Auschwitz, and he can't escape that. And so at the end, he walks down into darkness because he can't escape what's going to happen. I mean, that was my interpretation of it. I mean, again, I would love to hear what Jonathan Glazer thinks of it, but
Did he do a side? I can't remember exactly how he does. He do this or does he properly stare? I can't
if I
remember.
remember it correctly, he properly stares, like he stops and looks.
Maybe it's that he knows what he's doing. Like there's
Yeah,
something at the back of his mind. Like what I'm doing is wrong,
Yeah.
and history's going to
a
remember
good
this.
interpretation that one of our contributors, Freddie Dayton, said to me was he saw it as, you know, all 70, 80 years from now, the opening and the maintaining of Auschwitz goes on. So he's doing it now. He's the caretaker of Auschwitz at that time, but Auschwitz will forever be a place that's maintained, and the caretaking continues, which is also an interesting thing. But
Such interesting, yeah.
I'm not shocked that it was placed so highly. I'm just really glad it's not June Part 2.
No, so I was wrong. I think I
boring.
originally said I got it wrong. June Part 2 actually came in as 12. Not
I'm
11.
just happy it wasn't Twisters because you mentioned it earlier, and I was
I'm so happy it wasn't Twisters.
Oh, but it gave me my favorite line of the year. You don't face your fears, you ride them.
No, what? You don't what? That's a terrible
In which case, I'm scared of Glenn Powell.
So you need to ride him.
Looks like it. I'm scared of Katie O'Brien and Glenn Powell. Let's have at it, lads. It was like they wanted the meme. It's like they wanted the meme. I'm not shocked about the Zone of Interest. And like I said, I think it's an interesting film, and I do think that it's a complicated one.
It is really, yeah. It's I was worried when I talk about it, I'm going to come off as like someone I hate this film because of it. But yeah, no, I understand why. It's one of those films where I'm like, I didn't like it, but I can fully understand why people like it and appreciate it, and also voted highly for it.
Yeah.
So,
like I say, technically speaking, I can't fault the technicals of it. The sound, the acting, I do think is good, but I don't know. Thematically, there's just something about it that I was just not. Maybe for me, when I see a film, I like to be emotionally invested and emotionally moved. And the way that it was shot kept me at a distance, probably intentionally. But for me, that's not, the sort of thing I like, if that makes sense.
Was the distancing? So was the fact that the camera was a distance away from people? Was it not meant to humanize these people, but sort of just to put like a magnifying glass on them? So I don't know where I'm going with this thought, but
I think so, and
because like you said, like if you want to get closer to someone, be more emotionally invested, you would have more close-ups. But we're just observing them like
it's a flow on all, isn't it? We're just there. It's happening with or without us. They're not putting on any show for us. They are living their lives.
But are we meant to see them as human?
Well, I think
because their actions dehumanize them.
I think in a way it's that kind of thing of, I don't know, if there was a close up on Sandra Huller's face, you could almost imagine yourself talking to her. Whereas if you're on the ceiling and she's way below, you're kind of helpless. So for me, that's the sense I got, that all I can do is observe. Whereas when you're, next to a character, you feel like you can feel like you can intervene. Whereas there, you're like kind of helpless to what's going on. You can't intervene. You can't stop it. It's a thing that's happening. I could be way off the mark, though. I'll be honest with you.
No, that's you put it in a way more articulate way than I've been able to. So, no, it's a good way of putting it. Just to recap our top 10: number 10, Conclave; number 9, Sing Sing; number 8, La Chimera; number 7, The Wild Robot; number 6, All of Us Strangers; number 5, The Holdovers; number 4, Poor Things; number 3, Love Lies Bleeding; number 2, Anora; number 1, Zone of Interest. Thank you for joining us for this episode, and we will see you. Well, we won't see you, but you'll hear us in the new year.
I will see you.
Thanks for joining.
I will see you.